Live. We're on the air, live. We're here. Okay, welcome. It's Saturday. Welcome to Traveling with Bruce. I'm Bruce here in Creston, British Columbia in Canada, 3 miles north of the U.S. border, just north of Idaho. How you guys doing today? Welcome to Saturday. We survived another week. Oh my gosh. I love it. I gotta say, today has been a monumental day, and is actually, you're in the middle of a monumental moment right now as this broadcast is happening, and I'm excited. This is fantastic. Just gonna adjust myself here a little bit, adjust my camera. First of all, thanks for coming to my channel today, folks. As always, I know there's a bunch of you who follow me all the time, and I love it when you guys come back. And I also want to welcome anyone new that is discovering me for the first time here on Traveling with Bruce. You've never watched this before. Maybe a friend of yours told you about me, or you found me in a Google search, or somehow you stumbled across this crazy channel, and you've come across this guy who's talking to his computer live on the internet here on YouTube. Traveling with Bruce. This is a channel I created in March of 2017. 5.5 months ago, with nothing, no followers, no sponsorship, nobody. And I thought I would try and create a YouTube channel, and I would talk about stuff that I like talking about, which is cruise ships. I love talking about cruise ships and cruise ship vacations. I love talking about trips I've been on. I love talking about people I've met, crazy stories I've come across. And now I love doing these live streams. These live streams are great. It's a lot of fun. People type in where they're watching me from. They tell me where are they, and they tell me what their high temperature is going to be, and we can just compare our misery together. We have viewers from the United Kingdom. We got viewers from Australia. The United States, my #1 market. Thank you, America. Canada, of course. The rest of Europe, Caribbean, worldwide. It's unbelievable. There are cruisers everywhere. We just love going on cruise ships. I mean, who's kidding who? And the comments just keep coming. I find that I'll be talking about a subject that I want to mention to you guys today, and then all of a sudden a comment will come in from one of my viewers, maybe a question. It'll be just out of left field, something to do with cruising or traveling, and then boom, we go that direction, and we just try to kind of fill you in on what we know. And sometimes I don't have the answer, and one of my viewers does, and just type away and let me know, and I'll read it. So for those of you who are live, welcome, and just tell me where you're at. What's your high temperature today if you want to? You don't have to. You can just watch anonymously and not do anything. And we'll talk travel, we'll talk cruising, we'll talk whatever. For those of you who are watching this broadcast later, and most of you do, most of the viewers of this actual live stream will actually watch it later on as a replay on my channel, because it becomes a regular video. I read the comments that the viewers post if they're appropriate. We occasionally get a couple of nasty people. We'll get rid of that. But anyway, I read the comments, and we have this dialogue going, and it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. And if you're a new subscriber to my channel, say hi. Tell me you just subscribed, and I can say hi to you. This is great. Now, speaking of subscribers and speaking of my channel and all this, those of you who know this channel and who know what I'm doing or what I've been up to, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a YouTube creator like everyone else. There are probably, I was trying to figure this out the other day. How many YouTubers are there? How many YouTube channels actually exist? And we know there's over 1 billion people who watch YouTube. We know that. We know the billions of minutes that are consumed, by YouTubers and YouTube watchers. I'm a YouTube watcher. I watch videos all the time myself. Fewer lately because I'm so busy doing this, but I still watch. But boy, I'm thinking 25 to 50 million channels. I mean, I'm guessing. I really don't know. Is there an official statistic anywhere that actually says it? I'd love to know. I'm going to have to do some digging on that, but I don't want to bore you with too many details that aren't to do with cruising per se. Anyway, when I started, when I had like 10 subscribers, I realized I was about the 15th millionth largest channel. 15 millionth largest according to subscribers, with about 10 subscribers. And I hit 100 subscribers in December after starting in August, plugging away and adding 20 or so a month. I finally got to 100 subscribers in early December with a bit of a push. And I started giving the live updates every day as to how we're doing. I hadn't done live streams yet. I was still just doing regular videos. And oh my goodness, we went through 100 like nothing. And by Boxing Day, the 26th of December, I hit 150. That only took 2 weeks. And then by the 1st of January, I was approaching 200 subscribers. And then the bomb got dropped with YouTube when they told all of us as creators, forget the fact that you're monetized and that you're getting paid for ads, albeit in my case not that much because I'm still such a small guy, but you only needed 10,000 views on your channel to become monetized. I did that back in October before I had 100 subscribers. I already had 10,000 views. And I'm plugging away and building and building and building, and I'm getting like $1 a day in advertising money, $1.20, 80 cents, $1.40. And at Christmas time, I was up to $3 a day because of the high ad rates. Because at Christmas time, the rates are more expensive to buy an ad, to get in front of the consumer because of Christmas shopping and so on. And in early January, the ad rates dropped down because it's the low time of year, and my ad rates dropped, and I was back down like $1, $1.10 a day for 12-hour days of work. So I was making a dime an hour, 10 cents an hour, cash. 7 days a week, though. It's not like a 5-day week job. This year, every day I get paid. Oh my. But anyway, the bomb got lowered. The YouTube folks came out and said, "Nah, we're changing everything. We don't care about how many views you have anymore. It doesn't matter. We have too many robots out there making fake channels and posting fake comments and fake videos, or they're stealing content from news channels in Germany, and then they're reposting them as their own videos on their YouTube channels, and they're trying to get around our systems, and there's all kinds of nonsense going on." And I'm going, great, get rid of these guys. Fantastic. They get them off. Fantastic. Let's have true, pure creators who engage with their viewers on the air. I mean, that's what I want. So they came back with new guidelines. And now you have to have 4,000 hours of view time in the last 12 months to qualify. This is the drop dead date is February the 20th, by the way. That's when the measurement takes place. Feb the 20th. So from Feb 20 going back a year, you have to have at least 4,000 hours of watch time. That's 240,000 minutes of watch time. And the other factor you have to have two. The second one is the biggie, 1,000 subscribers. If you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of view time as of Feb 20, you are monetized. You will stay monetized. You're eligible for monetization. If you fall short of any one of those two, you're out, and you're not monetized anymore. And I was sitting here when I saw this news announcement come out in a press release and an email. When I got that, I went, "Oh, where am I? Like, where exactly am I doing here?" And my view time was coming on strong. These live telecasts at tons of minutes. But the subscribers, I was at 220 subscribers, and I went, "Oh Jesus, I only got 22% of the number, and I've got 30 days to get up to 1,000. I don't know if this is gonna happen. What are we gonna do?" And so I just told you guys. I just came out and said, "Help! Please help!" Any of you folks know someone who might be interested in this channel, or you have a friend of yours, or someone's going on a cruise, they're talking about a cruise, they're thinking about maybe one day going, or they've always talked about going on a cruise, but they've never pulled the trigger. Those people. Tell them about my channel, I would say, and have them watch what I'm doing. We're talking about cruising. There's cruising statistics, the latest trends, the latest news, new ships, all this stuff. And it started to happen. You guys are making it happen. And today something big happened. And I'm going to show you right now on this little smartphone what happened today. I grabbed my camera on this smartphone, standby, and I recorded this. Do you see that? Watch that. Look what happened this morning. Look at that. Here it goes. 401. We broke 400 subscribers. Isn't that great? Just going on air, we're at 403. A couple more joined in the last hour. So I have 403 subscribers. Now, that's still only 40% of what I need. But I was at 22% when the announcement came out about 8 days ago. So in 8 days, I've added 180 something subscribers. This is highly encouraging. I'm really pumped up about this. And it looks now like the growth curve, 8, 10, 12 viewers a day, subscribers a day, I should say. 8, 10, 12 subscribers a day seem to be kind of flowing into the channel. Now, you multiply 10 subscribers a day for the next 22 days. That's 220 more. Puts me at 620. I'm still short. but it was a growth rate of 4 to 5 a day, 5 to 6 a day, 7 to 8 a day. Now it's up to, so if it's going to go to 12 to 15 a day, just from natural growth and the analytics that are kicking in, 15 a day average for the next 20 something odd day, that's going to be 300 more. I'm approaching 700 subscribers. 20 a day adds about 400 more, 450 more. Now I'm at 850. You can see how close this is going to be. It may well be the last week I average 45 a day. I don't know. The anticipation is killing me, but I am excited as well. It's like watching a football game with, you know, a 3-4 point lead, and the team has to get a touchdown to win the game. And you're watching the Indianapolis Colts against the Saints, and it's 3rd and long. And they pull off a touchdown. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I'm excited. Believe me, I am excited, and I'm stoked, and I'm hopeful, and I'm optimistic. Now, I want to check something else because I wanted to share this with you when it happens. This little statistic here, I don't know if you can read this, but if you look up right up there, see that number up there? That number says 239,406. Okay, sorry to keep moving the phone on you. That's how many minutes I have right now on this channel from inception. 239,406. I am 594 minutes away from breaking the first requirement of 240,000 minutes to become monetizable with the view time. That's happening during this telecast with us talking. As far as I know, there are 12 to 15 people at this second that are online here watching, and it varies. Sometimes there's 20 people, sometimes there's 40. But if there are 15 people watching this right now, every minute we're here, it's 15 minutes of watch time because it's per person. And in 40 minutes, we're there. So I guess I just got to keep talking and hold you in. That's all I got to do. Excuse me. I dropped something. I have to pick it up. I know that during this telecast, right here, this live stream, I will break the 240,000 minute barrier deal. So that's 400 minutes, 240,000, 400 subscribers, 240,000 minutes. Wow, what a day. It's great. So I get up every day excited. Where are we at? How many subscribers we got now? How many I got to go? Where's my minutes at? What are we doing? And the length of the videos, you're watching longer. And there's all kinds of positive stats coming out of this channel. And I'm really excited, and I'm really stoked. 2 days ago, I made $4. That's the second best day I've ever had. So I'm sitting here going, wow, $4 in one day. Oh man, that's like 30 something cents an hour. I mean, this, you know, I'm like in the 40s. I'm coming like 1940s. We're making that kind of money. Instead of the 1700s, I'm up to the I'm coming up to modern times here. Boy, if I could just keep this coming, man. And it's a journey. It's a march. You just keep going. You keep making the product. You keep putting the videos out, and the viewers will come. And thank you, viewers, for that. Okay. So that's what I wanted to tell you about today about my channel. And YouTube is lighting up all over the place. All the creators out there who have anywhere from, 300 subscribers, 200 subscribers, all the way up to 950 subscribers. There are a gazillion of these folks who are, absolutely beside themselves in frantic trying to get subscribers, and they're putting the word out. And this is really taking over YouTube right now. A lot of creators are really nervous about their situation and what's going to happen. But I'm pretty confident we're gonna make a good run at it, and I thank you. Just looking here, Austin is here from Alabama, 60 degrees. Austin, how are you? I see your message there. Welcome to my channel. I'm not sure if you're new. I think you are, and I welcome you. Anyone who's watching me right now live, tell me where you're watching me from. What's your hometown? What's your high temperature going to be today? I'm in Creston, BC. It is snowing outside here. We're about 32 degrees. We're around freezing, 30 degrees, 32 degrees, and we're getting snow. If we go up a degree or two, it'll turn into sleet. If we go up a degree or 1 or 2 degrees higher, it'll turn into rain. But right now, we're just getting a light dusting. A lot of the snow is just melting on my patio, and the snow on the street, it sort of stays white on the pavement, but if it hits the manhole cover, melts. So it's kind of that, middle range, but it's pretty. It looks pretty, but I don't want to go outside. Winter is here. What can I say? So again, thank you for joining me live out there. Any questions you have about cruising, anything you want to know, just type in the question. I'll be happy to answer it for you. I'm assuming the chat system is working okay. Some of you are joining me. You may have noticed there's an ad that runs before you see me talking. Just so you know, I'm a monetized channel for now, and this is how I get paid to do what I do. I do this full time, and you just have to tolerate the ad if you don't mind. And then here I am, and away we go. Now, I got a question last night, or actually, I got a comment last night that I wanted to mention about today because it was in one of my videos I posted a little while ago. It's basically tips for cruisers. You know, like for new cruisers. I've done a number of videos about tips, things you should take with you, what you should bring along with you, what not to bring, and that kind of stuff. And I got a comment last night on it, and I had mentioned in the video how if you want to bring something on board, one of the ideas is, say you're departing from let's say you're departing from Miami and you're flying in from wherever to get a cruise. Okay, I always recommend arrive in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, whatever your port is, the day before. Make that the travel day. Make that the day everything screws up, so that at least you get there. Even if you get there in the middle of the night, the cruise is the next morning, and you've made the cruise in the worst case scenario. The worst thing is to try to get to a cruise ship on the day of the cruise, because if you're flying in on a cruise that's departing at 4 o'clock, you're supposed to land at 10 in the morning local time, and you had a connection or you didn't. Your plane just had mechanical issues right at the airport, where you are, or the plane you're waiting for is late coming in before you can even get on the darn thing. Oh, you're going to miss your connection, and now you're scrambling to get from the airport to the ship, and oh my gosh. Anyway, if you go the day before and you spend the night in a hotel, you can save more money on your cruise by doing that than the cost of your hotel. Now, that depends on the cost of the hotel. If you're going for a 5-star that's $400 a night, maybe I can't save you $400, but you're in a 5-star hotel. What are we complaining about? However, if you're doing what I do and you're staying at a Holiday Inn Express or Embassy Suites or something mid-range, I can save you more money than you're paying for your room, I think, or close to it, by coming in the day early. Because if you come in the day before, and if you arrive at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, whatever, it doesn't matter, you work your way to the nearest grocery store, big grocery store, Costco, Walmart, a big retailer, and you're going to pick up a few items that you're going to take on board the cruise ship that'll help save you some bucks. Number one, in my wheelhouse, because I'm not an alcohol drinker. My wife is, but I'm not. I love caffeine-free Diet Coke. Today, this broadcast is not brought to you by Coca-Cola and caffeine-free Diet Coke. I just happen to like caffeine-free Diet Coke, and I'm open to suggestions from the Coca-Cola company for sponsorship anytime you want to call me. However, this is my drink of choice, caffeine-free, which means I don't get all caffeined up when I drink these 3 or 4 or 5 of these a day, depending on how many I want. And yet I get the burp. It's brown, fuzzy water. Cheers. Unlike some people, I can drink this with one hand. Anyway, that's my drink of choice. I buy 2 to 3 dozen cans before I go on a cruise. Let's say I'm on a 7-day cruise, Caribbean. Going to be warm, going to be hot, humid. I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to be dehydrating. I want to drink something. I'll buy those, because by drinking those, which are caffeine-free, I'm not adding to my dehydration problem. With caffeine, regular Diet Coke, it adds to your dehydration problem, and it winds you up. Now, if you need winding up, I get it. Maybe that's for you. Or buy Red Bulls, which you can also buy before your cruise, or buy some of your favorite iced tea drinks, whatever you like. It doesn't matter. Regular Coke if you want. I don't care. For me, if I buy these at the grocery store or at the Walmart, I'm paying maybe 25 to 30 cents a can. And 36 of those, I'm going to save at least $2 a can on board, and maybe more, because some of the cruise lines are offering these now for $2.25, $2.50 a can, plus the tip. So you're at $2.75 a can, sometimes $3. So I know I'm going to save $2 to $2.50 a can. That's $72 to about $85 that I'm saving on my cruise, right there. Well, that covers a whole lot of hotel rooms up to $80 a night. Think about that. Number two, my wife, she loves to have wine on the cruise, and I've recommended grab a couple of bottles of wine. Costco, or I think Walmart even sends wine. Doesn't Walmart sell wine? It's America. I think they sell everything. Anyway, grocery stores certainly, and find your wine. Buy a couple of bottles of wine, and stuff one in one suitcase and one in the other. And if you can buy, you know, a bottle of wine for $8 to $15, you know, at the store, you're not going to pay between $40 and $100 on board the ship. So theoretically, you know, not guaranteed, but theoretically, you might save $40 a bottle. That's $80 right there. Well, now between $80 for the wine and 70 odd to $100 on the sodas, add it up, that's $150, $160, $170 you've saved before you get on board the ship. Buy your sunscreen at Walgreens or Walmart or Costco. Snacks, chocolate bars. You like chocolate? My wife likes chocolate. My wife adores chocolate. Well, buy your favorite chocolate bars in bulk. Buy 5, 10, 15, 20 of them at a you know, Costco and buy the bunch or whatever. Stuff it in your luggage and throw those chocolate bars in the mini fridge in your room, or leave them in your room. The room is air conditioned, and now you got those snacks. You don't have to buy those extra. See, just little stuff. You're nickel and diming your way to savings, but you add it up. You're talking $200, $250 in savings. You might be able to avoid a drink package from the cruise line. Cruise line loves to sell you a drink package, just a non-alcoholic drink package. You know, you can get all the soda you want at those soda machines. It's fountain drinks. I'm not a fan of the fountain drinks. I like the cans because they hold the fizz more. It's stronger, and I get the burp I want. It's just me. I'm an old man. What can I say? So by doing these little shopping thing before you get on the cruise, you might be talking $200, $250 in savings, and you don't have to get the drink package for non-alcoholic. That might save you $8 a day, is it? You folks know how much these are. We've seen the prices. The alcohol package. My wife, because she has wine now, she has 2 bottles of wine. This is for her room. We have a balcony room. She sits on the balcony, read a book. She knows she's going to be on the balcony every day of the cruise for some time of the cruise. She's going to want a glass of wine. The 2 bottles will probably last her the 7 days. Doesn't mean she isn't going to buy anything else to drink on the cruise, but now she can pay a la carte pricing for the drinks that she wants. When she's in the dining room, she can order whatever she wants to have. Maybe it's a glass of wine, or she can use the corkage fee if she wanted to, where she takes her bottle of wine with her, her full unopened bottle of wine, to the dining room, and they will do a corkage fee, maybe $15 to $25, and they'll keep that bottle of wine in the wine storage area for her and give her a glass whenever she wants a glass. Anywhere on the ship she happens to be, they'll go and get it. Okay, if you're into it, great. I would recommend you'd only want to do that if the bottle of wine you were bringing may have run you $40 or $50 at Costco. That would have been $200, $250 on the cruise. Then it's worth the corkage fee. But if it's a $8 bottle of white wine or red wine that might have run $30 on the cruise, why would you pay a $15 to $30 corkage fee? You just might as well just buy the wine on board. Forget that. So take the bottle with you, enjoy it in your room, leave it there. And then whatever you drink separately outside the room, you buy and pay for a la carte. And so my wife does that. And so we do the math, and we know there's no way she would ever it would make sense for her to have a drink package. No way. She wants a rum and Coke, and then she wants some beer and a glass of wine. Doesn't matter. She has 2 or 3 drinks outside of the room. Yeah. But now, we're 62 years old. If we were 22 years old and we're in college and it's spring break, it's a whole other topic, and it's a whole other world in which we used to live, in which the kids live today. So I get it. If you're 21, 20 years old, 22 years old, and you're on a college break for 5 days and you're whooping it up, maybe the drink package is for you, but I'm not on that cruise. I'm not going to be on that cruise. If at all possible, I'm not going to be there. So whatever suits you works. But if you can avoid the drink package and do it, like I was just saying for my wife, for us, hundreds and hundreds of dollars of savings. Okay, back to the point. I had a subscriber or a follower. I'm not even sure the person is a subscriber. I hope she is. Hope she's not mad at me. But she was going, "Are you crazy? You don't put a bottle of wine in your luggage. What if it breaks? Your clothing will be ruined." And yeah, that's right. Things can break. However, here's the situation. If you do it, I think, right, you landed the day before the cruise. You went to the store to buy what you're buying. You're coming back to your room. You've got your 2 bottles of wine. You can put them inside socks. You can put them inside pants. You can pad them quite a lot. And if your suitcase is large enough, and I'm talking about thickness, not length, yeah, but thickness really, but a foot deep, you get the wine in the middle. You got one in this one, you got one in the other one. There's no way two bottles of wine are going to crash against each other. The other thing is, you're the one bringing the suitcase to the bag porter at the pier. Okay, it didn't go through the airport like that. Didn't go through the baggage handlers like that. Didn't go through all those machines at the airport. And you didn't watch those baggage handlers on the tarmac do 3-point shots with your baggage or someone else's baggage. We've all heard and seen that nonsense. You were the one who packed the bag, and an hour later, you're headed for the ship. And yes, you have to give up your suitcase to the porter there. But what are they doing with it? They're piling it onto the wagons, and they're driving the wagons onto the pier, and then they're pulling the wagons into the ship, and they're pulling the wagons down to the unloading area, and then the staff from the ship, the crew, are unloading the suitcases, and they're organizing them into floors. What floors are headed to, what decks, and then they're bringing it to you. The odds of your bottle of wine breaking with that kind of packing are so low and so light, I think it's worth the chance. But hey, if the clothing you have, is that expensive, if you've got, 10 grand worth of clothing in your suitcase, you don't want anything in there. You don't want shampoo in there. So I get it. To each his own. But, realistically, it's not a big deal. Most cruise lines allow you to bring a bottle of wine per adult onto a cruise anyway. And I just say, put it in your suitcase. It's fine. Now, who else is here? Chevy and First is here. Hey, Bruce, 57 here in Georgia. Congrats on the 400 subs and the minutes. Thank you very much. You're part of that solution. Thank you so much. Peter's here today. Peter from Brisbane, Australia, from down under. Hey, Peter, how are you, buddy? Back again for the time being, 2 days and 2 weeks. Explore on the seas. 85 degrees here today. It's summer in Brisbane, Australia. It's summertime. Beautiful. Peter, welcome from down under. Exciting. You're going to be on the Explorer. I've been on the Explorer of the Seas, and I hope you have a great cruise. That's fantastic. Oh, that's going to be great. Terrence is here. Congrats on reaching 400 subscribers. Thanks, Terrence, so much. Again, you're part of the solution. Austin is saying, Bruce, have you ever been on a Carnival cruise? The answer is no. I have not, Austin. I've not been on a Carnival cruise. And boy, have I been hearing bad news lately about Carnival, as have we all. We were talking about this yesterday, too. I think it was yesterday's video or the day before. I think the day before, I went on a rant. I have to apologize to those viewers who were watching me 2 days ago, because it really made me mad that Carnival flunked their 4th surprise CDC inspection this month in like 30 days. They flunked 4 times. The Vista, the Breeze, the Triumph, and one other ship, they all flunked. I mean, my goodness, this is crazy. Anyway, so that's the thing on Carnival lately, Austin. We were talking about that the other day. I'm just going to check here another message from Chevy and First. This may have been asked before. Are we allowed to take our personal cup Yeti to the buffet? I heard the cups are small. Yeah, okay, I'm going to answer it this way, Chevy and First. I bring with me, along with my cola, of course, from home, I bring my sport cups with me. I'll bring 2, one for myself, one for my wife. And what I mean by a sport cup is it's a plastic cup that can hold at least 2 cans of cola, like soda, and full of ice. And then it's got the twist lid and its own straw, or it's got a flip kind of, one of those flip little things that is a straw. And you can drink out of it and then put the thing back down. Once in a while, you have to lift it to kind of let the carbonation out, because you can feel the side of your sport cup getting tighter and tighter. So you got to go let it out and then close it. That's a good sign, because you got good carbonated soda for a guy like me. You can bring those around. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend you do it in like a formal specialty restaurant. Excuse me, or the dining room. I wouldn't do that. You could do it, but for the buffet, yeah, bring along your sport cup, and if it's full of your favorite beverage in there, yeah. My wife and her wine, she doesn't like drinking wine out of a sport cup. That's not her style. If it were her style, she'd do it, but it's not her style. And so she reserves and keeps her wine for her enjoyment. on the balcony, in the balcony suite. If we were in an inside room and she wanted to go outside the room with the wine, you don't take the bottle out. Of course, you don't walk around the ship with a bottle of wine. You don't do that. Yeah, I guess she could put it in a cup with a straw and a lid on it, and be somewhat indiscreet about it. But to each his own, right? But anyway, to answer your question, I think I got your question that yes, you can take it with you to, say, the buffet at least, or pool deck. I take my sport cup, fill it up with ice, pour in my 2 colas, make sure it's topped right up, screw the lid down, and I head to the spa because I have a spa pass for the week as part of my daily ritual. And what I'll do is I'll take the cup with me right into the steam room. Because I'm just sitting there starting to sweat away here, and I got the little hose to hose myself off and keep myself cool. And I got my little drink right here, my cola, and I'm drinking my cola inside the spa room. And then after I'm done, after the steam room, I should say, after I'm done there, I head for the bathrooms, for the showers. I shower off. Excuse me, and then I'll take my sport cup with me to where the jacuzzis are. And I'll pop myself in the jacuzzi. And I got the sport cup sitting right beside the jacuzzi. It's all sealed. It's all closed. Even if it fell in, it wouldn't leak because it's got that closed lid. But no one ever gave me a hard time about it. And then if I'm open in the open area, the co-ed area where all the men and the women can congregate, where the loungers are, then I'll hang out there with my sport cup. Now, after about an hour of time, because I take my time in the spa, this is not a race. After about an hour, I find that my ice has melted. My cola, what's left of it, is gone flat. And so I had put back for the men's room, and I dump it out, and I rinse out the sport cup completely. And then I take the empty sport cup back to where the water station is. Because in the spa rooms, they usually have a water station where they provide you with iced water in a huge glass container, massive, filled with ice, and filled with quarter slabs of oranges or lemonade. So it's lemonade tasting water or orange tasting, whichever your choice is. I fill my sport cup up with that. And now I've got iced water from the cruise ship in a lemon taste or orange taste. And that lasts me the rest of my spa experience. That's how I stay hydrated. And after I'm done that, I head back to the room, dump out the rest of it. And if I'm going out on the deck for a walk or look around, grab some ice, grab a couple cans of cola, fill them up, off I go. And that's what I do that's my routine, okay? Hope that answered your question. Now let me just double check here. What do we got here? Shemine first says, for Carnival, they said we have to have the wine on us when we get on the ship. It has to be in our bag we are carrying on the ship. They said, don't pack it in a checked bag. Certain cruise lines have certain rules, and if that's their rule, follow it. That's cool, no problem. Doreen is here. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Bruce. -6 here in Nova Scotia, Antigonish, Nova Scotia. Returning viewer. Question: should you lock your luggage at the cruise port? A good question. What's my answer to that question? I've stopped locking my luggage since the TSA went ballistic on, after when, to 9/11. So I stopped locking my luggage because if it's locked, maybe some newbie, rookie TSA agent gets suspicious and pries it open and wants to look inside. So I don't even lock my luggage because inside my luggage, to be honest, there isn't anything of unbelievable value. You want to steal my pants? You want to steal my underwear? You got to be nuts. My wife, she's got her clothing in there. It would be a shame if it went missing. Of course. I mean, if, our luggage didn't show up in our room, I mean, it would be terrible. Would it be the end of the world as we know it? No, not really. It's probably an excuse to buy some new stuff. But yeah, we'd raise holy hell about it. You're darn right. And yeah, maybe we lose a bottle of wine. Maybe I lose some of my cola. Yeah. But I generally don't lock it. I'm with my luggage until I hand it to the cruise line, and I've handed it to the porter, and right there is where all the other luggage goes, and it now is part of the I don't know, 4,000 passengers. Each of us have 2 bags. It's 8,000 pieces of luggage. It's one of those. And now you take your chances that it'll arrive in your suite at a certain point in time in the day, and it really shouldn't be opened and rifled through because the crew doesn't have time to steal. They're so busy handling 7,000 bags and everything else that's coming off the ship and everything that's going off the ship from the old cruise. They really haven't got time to tinker with it. And do they need complaints from cruisers like us that stuff's missing? That's the last thing they want, because we talk on programs like this. If we found out that Holland America all of a sudden was famous for lost baggage, do you think that wouldn't make this show? You bet you would make this show. We'd be talking about it. So I don't like it. What else have I got here? Chevy First is saying, I would love to bring a bottle of peach schnapps. My friend's brother, Chevy First, you're from Georgia, aren't you? That's peach country, right? Yeah, I knew it. My friend's brother always rebottles a wine bottle for them. Cough, cough. I may have to have him fix me up a bottle before I go. Well, now, there are crafty people out there, Chevy First. It all depends on how you do it. Of course, if you live close enough to a port where you can drive there, you have more options. You can be more creative. I, however, do not live close enough to a port where I can drive there, and so I have to fly there. And if I have to fly there, and I'm flying internationally out of Canada into the United States of America, there ain't no way I'm taking anything that I'm not allowed to take, and that is, in any way fishy. And I'm using that term loosely. So I don't even bring alcohol across the border. I don't bring the cola across the border. Nothing. My suitcase is so boring that a TSA agent wants to open my suitcase and go through. You knock yourself out and look at all my garbage clothing that I've got. And for my wife, the same thing. Enjoy what she's wearing and take a look at, because that's all you're going to find. That's where the shoes are. That's where the underwear is. That's where my pants are. But I don't have anything else in there. My bathroom, my nail clippers, they're in the suitcase, all that kind of stuff. In my carry-on, if I had medication that I was on, which I'm not, thankfully, but if I did, my meds would be with me on my carry-on bag. And anything else of value, the wife's jewelry in the carry-on bag or in her purse, with us at all times. So the suitcases have the least valuable stuff in them. Our vulnerability is at the lowest point it can be for a piece of luggage that we lose sight of once we hand it off to the handlers, and we don't see again until it comes off the airport ramp there. It comes off in the baggage area, the baggage claim area. The next time we see our baggage, and if something was taken from there, it wasn't worth a lot of money, and it was used clothing. So there you go. Okay. Anyway, that's the answer to that one, I think. Let me just check here. Everybody else got anything else to say? Yeah. So peach schnapps. He can bring peach schnapps on board. Way to go. I don't know. Chevy First is saying it's going to be an 8-hour drive, but I am driving to the port just so I can save money on hotel and bring everything with me. I don't want to shop at the port. Yeah. You bet. I mean, those of you folks who live in Orlando, you're living in Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, anywhere Florida. I mean, practically anywhere Florida. Or a good chunk of Georgia, South Carolina. If you can drive to a port on sale day, you got it going on. There's no doubt about it. The only trick of it is where are you going to put your car for the amount of time that you're gone on the cruise. You want to leave your car in a secure, supervised, security patrolled lot. Now, there are parking lots by the pier, of course, run by the Port Authority, but they can be pricey. Yes, I know in LA, I think we paid $16 or $17 a day to park our car for 7 days. We drove, by the way, a rental car from Phoenix. We visited friends, we rented a car. We drove all the way down to Phoenix in a rental car. Then we drove it all the way to LA. We left it in the lot. We were paying the daily rental fee and the parking fee because we got a 1-month rental on that thing that was $18 a day to rent the darn thing. It was so cheap. It was unbelievable. So couldn't pass that up. So that worked for us economically. But if you live in Palm Desert, California, and driving to LA, or you live in Georgia, or you live in Florida and you're driving to Port Canaveral or Fort Lauderdale, you can park the car at the pier. But if you can make arrangements to park the car at a parking lot a little further out, maybe off the property of the pier, that's a supervised lot, and it's maybe $10 a night or $8 a night, well, now it really starts to make sense. And of course, the day before you're driving, or 2 days before you drive, that's when you're buying your stuff. You're buying your soda, you're buying your wine, whatever, your sunscreen. You get all that stuff, and it's all packed in the suitcase. You have no weight limitations. If I'm flying down from Canada to the US, I want to get on an airplane, I have to be under 50 pounds for that suitcase. So I can't bring anything too heavy. That's also another reason why I only have clothing in my suitcase. So we have these kinds of restrictions as airline passengers, and that's why I recommend, as an airline passenger, get there the day before, get a hotel, then head and buy your provisions that you want to bring on that ship with you, right? But yeah, driving down, it can be very economic. You get the great deal on the cruise. You get the room credits if you can get them. If you're a shareholder of the company, you get the shareholder credits. And then you've already got the alcohol and the sodas and everything else pre-purchased, pre-packed. You have no weight limitations on your bag, so they can be 70 pounds each, doesn't matter. Way to go. You can make cruising extremely economical over an airline passenger or someone from international, someone from the UK flying to Miami and getting on a cruise. Those of us who are flying in have disadvantages, but there are ways to limit the expense and expand our dollar, stretch our dollar. Okay, that's good stuff. Shipping First is saying for Carnival we have to bring the wine bottle and the 12-pack of Coke on the ship. Okay, that's what they want. That's what they want. And then Shipping First also says don't have to worry about cabs and flying back. Yeah, that's right. I mean, if my wife and I landed at the Miami International Airport for a cruise. We got there the day before. We got a hotel. We rented a car for $35 for the day. Did our Costco run, got our stuff, loaded up our suitcases, drove the car back to the rental place at beside the airport, dropped the car off. I got a free shuttle ride from the car rental company back to the terminal of the airport, but we were going on a cruise. Well, we knew there was a free shuttle from the airport car rental area to the cruise ship. So we went to the airport. We got off, and we're standing on the curb, waiting for the shuttle that takes people to the pier at the port in Miami. And all of a sudden, in the distance, siren, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. And we're looking around, and I can finally see coming way down there. I see a police car with the lights going, and he's coming close, and he comes right in front of us. It stops. 2 car lengths in front of us, stops fast and hard. This wasn't a little courtesy pull-up. No, this was someone in a real hurry, and he got out of that vehicle, slammed his door, and went running into the terminal. And I'm looking at my wife. She's looking at me. People all around us are looking at each other when all of a sudden we hear 2 more. 2 more coming. Here come 2 more cop cars, and we hear 3 more. And now there's 5. They're all coming. They're all coming to exactly where we're standing. And I'm asking myself, what's going on in the rental terminal right behind us? I don't want to know what's going on. I'm not going in there to take a look. No, there's cops running in there holding their pistols, in their holsters, their hands on their weapons, not out, but I'm thinking something's going on. And I looked at her and I said, honey, let's forget the free shuttle. There's a cab right across the street here from the cop cars. And what's happening now with all these cop cars arriving, they're starting to block the traffic. By them parking wherever they're parking, no car can get past them to get out of this loop of traffic. But here are 4 cabs sitting here, and the cabbies are looking at us begging and hoping that we'll take them because they know we're standing there waiting for the free shuttle. So I said to my wife, let's grab a cab. So we grabbed a cab and we got out because he was in front of the police cars, and we went down to the port. We never did find out what happened, but by the time we left that area, we got our bags in the trunk of the cab, we got into the cab, there had to have been 12 cop cars and still more coming. It was an all bulletin alert. I don't know what was going on, but somebody didn't like their upgrade on their vehicle or something, because the cops are coming in droves. So, sometimes your best laid plans can backfire on you for a deal. But, 25, $30 is what we paid for the cab ride. We got there. We had no issues. The folks that didn't grab a cab, who were standing there, now I'm thinking to myself, geez, if these cops don't leave in the next 2 hours, you're not going to get on the shuttle bus to get to the ship. How worth it is it for your time to be 2 hours later, 3 hours later to get to the terminal to get on your ship, because you want to save 10 or 15 or $20? Sometimes it's not worth it, right? Well, anyway, so that was a little story that came up. What can I say? Let's see what we got here. Any more updates? Cabs worrying. Yeah, everything is up to speed here. Those of you folks who are watching me right now, if you've never watched me before, this is Bruce with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel. We're talking cruise ships. We're talking travel in general. Ask me anything you want about travel or cruise ships or cruise lines or whatever you want to know. If I don't have the answer, maybe one of my viewers does. Type in, where are you watching me from? Are you in the United States? Are you in UK? Are you in Canada? Tell me what city you're watching me from and what's your high temperature going to be. Because where I am, in Creston, BC, British Columbia here in Canada, I'm 3 miles north of the Idaho border, and we're at about 30 to 32 degrees right now, and we got snow falling outside. It's pretty, but you don't want to be driving anywhere. It's ugly. So say hi and let us know. If you just want to watch this channel anonymously, of course, sit there and enjoy. I hope we're not boring you. I have some information today about cruising that I came across this morning. I thought I would relay it to you. One of the things I love about the cruise business are the statistics of the cruise business, the numbers behind the cruise business. It's really growing. This industry is taking off. It has been on a growth pattern for 12 odd years. There was a bit of a glitch in the growth curve of cruising from about 2009 to about 2011, and that was when we had the big economic crisis that hit the world markets just at the end of George Bush's presidency, just before Obama took over. And for a couple of years, the cruise business backed off a little bit, as did a lot of businesses. And then slowly but surely things began to stabilize again and then slowly come back. Cruise business has not only come back from the little hiccup it had, it has just powered past the old numbers and is setting new records every year. It's stunning. And a couple of pieces of info for you about the cruise business that I thought kind of interesting. In 2010, it was only 8 years ago. I was 54 8 years ago, just a kid. Back when I was a kid, 19.1 million passengers went on cruises in 2010, which is a pretty impressive number. By 2015, it went up to 23.19 million passengers, about 20% more. And last year, 2017, the number was 25.8 million. Another, what would that be? Another 2.7 million, another 10% more. The estimates for this year, for 2018, another 6% growth, roughly 5-6% more passengers will take a cruise this year than last year. That'll add about 1.5 million more people. That's 100,000 more a month, 25,000 more passengers a week. And that means 25,000 more passengers a week getting off a ship and getting on a ship. That's 50,000 turnover on embarkation day or debarkation day. This is big numbers. Phenomenal. These folks all have to get to the port. They got to either fly in or drive in, as we've been talking about. They got to get their luggage together. They got to get their provisions. They got to pay for their cruise. Travel agents are involved. It's incredible. The spin-off effects of cruising are huge, absolutely magnificent. And some of the economic numbers are something like this. 23 million passengers in 2015. 956,000 jobs, full-time jobs, were represented by that number. Almost 1 million workers in the cruise business. This is a worldwide number. $38 billion in wages and salaries paid out in 2015 to the industry employees. 38 billion. And 117 billion total economic impact worldwide from the cruise business. $117 billion. This is humongous. If cruising stopped overnight, there would be serious economic repercussions across industries all over the place and global. It wouldn't just be a Tampa problem. It wouldn't be just a Miami issue or or a Los Angeles, Port of Los Angeles issue. This would be global, everywhere. It's quite an amazing stack. Where do passengers come from? That's the other one I thought was kind of neat. What country has the most cruisers by percentage of cruisers? United States, number one. 11.5% of all global passengers are from the United States. The second country on the list surprised me a little bit. China, 2.1%. It surprised me because cruises for Chinese nationals has only in the last 10 years really been allowed. It started in its infancy, and most of the passengers on cruises from China are on river cruises, the Yangtze River and others. Again, domestic. They're allowed to cruise within their waters. In the last 3 to 5 years, however, cruise lines have started to show up in China who have been allowed to have Chinese national tourists travel to, say, Japan and back, or South Korea, Japan and back. That started to pick up. But there's a glitch. The Chinese government does not allow Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, these and international cruise lines like MSC and anyone European-based, that kind of thing. These cruise lines cannot sell directly to Chinese nationals directly. So Carnival cannot have a Chinese person, a Chinese resident or a national of China, contact Carnival directly to book a cruise from China. They can't do that. They have to go through Chinese licensed travel agents. In other words, they're government approved. And I guess the reasoning is the fact that a lot of the world today is going digital. We're going computer, and the internet is highly restricted in China for its domestic base. And so the citizens of China are restricted to government-approved websites, government-approved internet traffic links, and that's where these Chinese-based cruise travel agencies are licensed to allow Chinese people to book a cruise on a Carnival cruise or Royal Caribbean or whatever ship from Shanghai over to Japan, perhaps South Korea, and back. Other issues lately, though, have gotten in the way. Because of the North Korean issue and the South Korean issue, there are tensions building there. The Chinese government lately has forbidden its own citizens from boarding cruise ships that make stops in South Korea. And that is a political thing. It comes, it goes. They lift it, they impose it. It's a crapshoot. So the number for China, surprisingly, 2.1% of all cruisers are Chinese nationals. But I would guess that 80% or so of that number would be river cruises operated by, say, Viking River Cruises as one example. There's numerous others that are licensed in China to operate river cruises, and they operate only in China itself. And so this is not reflective of, say, if you went to the Caribbean, would 2% of all passengers be from China? Probably not, no. So I thought that was an interesting number. But the number 3 country, Germany, 2% of global cruisers are from Germany. A cruise line called AIDA, AIDA, AIDA Cruises, owned by Carnival, operates a number of cruise ships, and the staff on board predominantly speak German on behalf of their German-speaking tourists. And AIDA Cruises markets itself incredibly heavily to German-speaking tourists. And it's one of the largest cruise markets in the world. Germans love to get on the cruise ships from Hamburg and other ports there, and of course Amsterdam and elsewhere, and then cruise around Europe, maybe Northern Europe, the Baltic region, Norway, Sweden, and also through the Caribbean, through the Mediterranean, I should say, through past Ireland, the UK, of course, and through the Mediterranean and back. There are a high number of German cruisers that love to go transatlantic, of course, and or they'll fly to the United States and grab a Caribbean cruise. So many Germans speak English as well, and they don't feel out of place. They may speak, let's say, basic English to you and I, but more than good enough on a cruise ship, even in the Caribbean, or a cruise from, say, Boston up into Quebec, back through the Maritimes, back through the northeastern U.S. They're quite comfortable with it, and they travel the world. So that's the next largest cruise market. I found that interesting. The next one after that is the United Kingdom, 1.9%. UK, of course, UK travelers are global travelers, and they're everywhere. We run into travelers from the UK all over the place, and of course, we love to go there and travel from cruises. My daughter and I took a cruise originating in Southampton, ending in Barcelona through the Mediterranean, and seamless, effortless, a, a pleasure and a joy to launch from Southampton. Absolutely fantastic. Australians make up the next batch of cruisers, 1.29% of global cruise ship passengers. It's the last country that has at least 1% of all world travelers. So look at the numbers here from 2015, 23 million Australians at roughly 3%. We're talking here almost 3 million passengers from Australia. Pretty good when you consider the country has about 22 million residents. That's a lot of Australians proportionately traveling on cruise ships. That's quite something. New Zealanders, of course, are big travelers as well. The next country to make the list, Canada, my country I live in, 0.75%. Well, that makes sense. We're 1/10 the size of the United States by population, maybe. And so that would represent 7.5% compared to America's 11.5%. But we don't have cruise ports like the Floridians do, or the Californians do, or the New Yorkers. If Canada had just as many ships departing its cities as home ports, Canadian numbers would be higher. I bet you we'd be up over 1%. That would equal the 11.5% the Americans have. So that would just make sense. But we don't. We have to get there first. Italy, 0.75% of all world cruisers. France, 0.57, about 0.5% of all world cruisers. Then there's Spain at 0.5%, and Brazil at 0.5%. So a lot of South Americans love to cruise, and there are quite a number of South American cruises that emanate or originate from the United States, head down, end in Sao Paulo or end in Santiago, Chile, and then a cruise will start from that location, come back to the States. And of course, Brazilians and many South Americans grab these cruises and go. They love it. So it's quite a worldwide business, isn't it? Cruise specialist. I'm talking about travel agents. There are travel agents out there who are, or specialists in airfare deals, or they're specialists in all-inclusive resort vacations. But there are a number of cruise travel agents who like to consider themselves cruise ship specialists. That's the number one area that they want to work in. They're passionate about cruising, and they're on top of all the cruise news, and they're booking cruises all the time for their clientele, and they help clients with wedding cruises, anniversary cruises, corporate gigs, you name it. If you're a travel agent in Fort Lauderdale, you probably have a lot of corporate clients throughout Florida that you deal with for special 3-day cruises, 5-day cruises, corporate getaways, or corporate reward cruises, that kind of thing. But if you're a travel agent in Denver, you might be more focused on getting couples to cruises out of the West Coast, cruises out of Florida, domestic U.S. If you're based out of Spain, of course, you're dealing with your clientele there. Back in 2010, there were 12,000 cruise travel agents specializing in cruises. 12,000. 2016, 25,000, double. And this is a direct reflection, a direct correlation between the number of cruise ships that were plying the seas back in 2010 and before, and how many cruise ships there are now, and how big they are now. We may not have double the cruise ships on the seas today as we did before, but the size of these cruise ships have really grown out. And it's I think it's MSC Cruises that is talking about the fact that last year their average ship capacity was 2,500 people, and that by a couple of years from now they're expecting it to reach 3,900. Average passenger size per ship. You need travel agents to book these cabins, whether the travel agent talks to you directly, or whether whether you and I book through the internet, or whether you and I book through the cruise line directly. But generally speaking, most people use a lot of people use travel agents, especially out of Europe. Travel agencies are the way to go because the myriad of deals that are endless. hire a pro and say, look, not only do I need the cruise, I need the airfare to get there and back. You got to help me out with hotels before and after. Maybe I want to incorporate a 3-week holiday. And in that 3 weeks, 1 week is for a cruise and 2 weeks is for, a land vacation. The cruise starts in Rome, ends in Barcelona. So I want a week in Italy first. Then I want a week in Spain after. So make it work, because here's how much money I have. Here's how much time I have. What can you do for me? And well, travel agents, that's what they live for. I mean, you give me the logistics and I'll go. I'm not a travel agent. I am my own travel agent, and it's what I live for. My wife and I decide we're going to take a 3-week holiday. I'll put something together, and I'll get on the internet and try to find the right airfare package and the right hotel package and the cruise package. If I can merge it all together in one happy ball of happiness, away we go. So yeah, that's why these cruise specialists are multiplying to the number that we're seeing now. It's absolutely incredible. David Crow's here. Hey, David, how you doing? Any cruises go to Atlantic, Central Africa, or South Africa? Okay, do any cruises go from, let's say, North America, the east coast of North America, to Africa? I don't know of any from North America. I know of cruises that will depart from European ports, Mideast ports, but I am not aware of any that have come to my radar, unless someone out there knows, any of my regulars out there who are watching, if you want to put in some thoughts. David, I would recommend you do this. Dave, go to vacationstogo.com. This is my favorite website for finding cruises. And here's what they can do for you. This website is fantastic. You sign in. All you have to do is give an email address to sign in, and you can have free access to their site. And they'll have a pop-up chart that'll pop up, and they'll ask you questions. Like, for example, you want to do a cruise to Africa maybe in the next year or so. You can enter, when do you want to look for a cruise? You can say starting month, March, this coming March 2018. How long do you want to look for a cruise for? Next year, the March 2019. The next line will ask you, where do you want to go? And you hit the button, and it has regions. Africa is one of them. Hit Africa, and then hit the search button. You don't have to go any further than that. You don't have to pick out a cruise line. You have to pick out the length of the cruise. You don't have to pick out anything else. Just hit the button. It'll show you all cruises to Africa. Now, from there, you'll see a list of cruises to Africa. And what you'll do is you'll look at the departing city versus the arrival city, or the beginning of the cruise and the end of the cruise. Look for a cruise that starts in North America and see what pops up. And then you can dig into the details of that particular cruise, and you can narrow your search down. I'd give that a try and see what you can come up with. That's the way I'd go. Let me think here. Teresa McFarland saying not from North America, I believe from Australia. Okay. Peter is saying MSC have some Indian cruise, Durban, South Africa cruises. Peter's in Australia. Thanks, Peter. Most lines avoid Horn of Africa because of piracy. Thanks again, Peter. Yeah, I didn't even mention that. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah. Bad rap. Bad rap. We have, there's issues there. There are just issues. Senegal and Somalia, and there's all kinds of issues. So yeah, North American cruise lines, it makes sense, doesn't it, folks? If you've got a Carnival cruise line or a Royal Caribbean cruise or Celebrity or Holland America, Miami, loaded up with North American tourists heading to war zones or to unstable areas of the world. And, there's just an atmosphere out there that they just don't appreciate North Americans like they used to. I'm a North American. I'm from Canada. There are North Americans from Mexico. And then there are North Americans from the country in the middle between Canada and Mexico. Those North Americans, these days, certain areas of the world just aren't as welcoming right now. It's a bit testy. And so cruise lines, they're not going to take 4,000 North Americans on a cruise to a flaky so-so zone. Not going to happen. So we don't have cruises to Syria. We don't have cruises to Yemen, and less than that, of course. Now, Africa, great continent, beautiful people, incredible views, history, geography, food, culture. My goodness. But there's no such thing as a 1 week cruise. You'd have to be looking at least what, a 30-day cruise? I mean, if you're going to leave, a North American port, head all the way across to Africa, and spend a week there and come back, you're talking 5 days cruising to get there, 5-6 days cruising to get back, and then there's the cruise itself. And now, what about hurricane season? I mean, we see these hurricanes come across from Africa, across Sahara into the Atlantic, and heading for the Leeward Islands and tearing up the Caribbean. There's no way cruise ships are going to go through that zone at certain times of the year. And so, there are just logistical issues. So the North American side, no. But yeah, there are cruises to African countries and ports, but from closer in. So you may have to fly to, if you're in North America, you may have to make your way over to the Mideast or to Europe first, or down under, and catch cruises from there. So I hope that answers your question. I'm learning stuff as we go. Let's see here. I think we're up to speed here. Yeah, that's what everyone's commenting at this point. Anyone else have questions? Please let us know. What am I going to talk about now? The last couple of points I had about the cruising business as a whole. The money. I love the money. In 2015, the average cruise passenger spent 1,779 American dollars for their cruise. Now, we know there are 3-day cruises, 4-day cruises, 5, 6, 7s, all the way up to round the world cruises that go 130 days, okay? But I'm going to say in general, a typical cruise is likely to be about 7 days. Likely. Maybe it's a bit less than that, 6. Maybe it's a bit more than that, 8. But 7 would be safe. $1,779 is an average spend for a passenger on a cruise. Well, that has to include the fare, the taxes, fees, the tipping, suggested tipping, internet charges, drinks, specialty dining, and spa packages, massages. We all know what you can spend money on a cruise. So $1,779 doesn't sound that outrageous at all. As a matter of fact, for $3,500 a couple, yeah, that's kind of fair value. For some of us, we're looking at that number going, well, I know I can cruise for $1,200. And some of us going, there's no way I can cruise for under $2,500 a person. There's no way I can do it. Well, it all depends. Depends on an inside room, balcony suite, owner's suite, your personal taste. But that's the average price that the industry came up with in 2015. And the net profit for a typical cruise came out at $226 for the entire cruise. So out of $1,779 spent, $226 was the net profit. So we're talking about a profit margin of about, what would that be, 15% or so? Yeah, 17 plus 8, well, maybe not quite, 13% net profit. Or if you divide 226 into a 7-day cruise, we're talking about a little over $30 a day profit for the cruise line. To me, that's a great deal. I tell you, $1,776 for a 1-week all-inclusive cruise. That includes everything. For a guy like me in a balcony room, I'm a happy guy. I'm coming off that cruise at the end of the week, and I do not feel like I paid too much. I feel like my experience was worth it. Maybe I saw 3 or 4 different sites, countries along the cruise, just a Caribbean cruise or a Mexican Riviera cruise. Wow, great week. I got sunshine. I got spa time. I'm relaxed. I had a great time. Great views. Hopefully good weather. Hopefully no storms. Not a bad deal. So I found that to be an interesting number. The biggest cruise lines in the world as of 2016, of course, we know Carnival is the #1 cruise line by size, because Carnival not only owns their own branded ships, Carnival ships, I think there are 26 now. They also own Holland America, Cunard, Princess, Seabourn, Costa Cruises, Ada Cruises, as I mentioned earlier. Carnival is massive. Their gross revenues, $16.4 billion in gross dollars. Now, you look at a 12% profit margin, and you can understand they're making over $2 billion a year in profit. Royal Caribbean, number 2 cruise line, half the size, $8.5 billion in revenue. Royal Caribbean, we know, those of us who follow cruising closely and those of you who are casual, you've heard the stories. They operate the biggest cruise ships in the business. Oasis of the Seas, Allure of the Seas, Harmony of the Seas, Symphony of the Seas is about to come out. These are 5,000 passenger cruise ships. They are massive. They cost $1 billion, $1.2 billion, $1.3 each to build. Carnival Cruise Lines, Royal Caribbean owns Celebrity, and a few other lines, half the size of Carnival, as big as they are. Growing, of course, they're growing quickly, but $8.5 billion in revenue. Third place, Norwegian. Norwegian Cruise Lines almost went out of business about 12, 15 years ago. They were that close to being insolvent, and they got bailed out by a group called the Apollo Management Group. I believe it's an investment company out of New York. I'm going to guess New York, or certainly out of the U.S., if I'm right. They saved the company. It was a private company at the time. They bailed them out. They had ships that were in rough shape, and they didn't have any ships on order, or if they did, they couldn't pay for them. And their passenger counts were dropping. Their standards were low. Trouble everywhere. Well, they brought in a whole new management team. They started poaching and stealing management from everybody else. That's what you do. And they turned that company around. And they put a big capital infusion into Norwegian. And they started ordering new ships, bigger ships with all kinds of features. And then they announced freestyle dining as their first big initiative. No longer are you restricted to eating at 5:30 in the dining room, 6:45 or 8 o'clock. No. Come when you want, eat whenever, and we're going to open up all kinds of specialty restaurants, and you can eat whatever you want. So we got a pizza house, we got an Italian restaurant, we got a Japanese restaurant, we got a steakhouse, and here we go. This started specialty dining. This started freestyle dining, freestyle cruising, they called it. It took off. It just took off. It caught because they also cut the prices. They undercut the competition, and they kind of broke even for a while, just to get market share. And they got people involved on these ships to enjoy the new experience, to see the new Norwegian, not the old Norwegian, but the new Norwegian. And then we have seen Norwegian grow rapidly, aggressively, adding all kinds of features on their cruises, growing up these ships now to 5,000 passengers. The Norwegian Bliss coming out in 2 months, March, April. It's going to be the first cruise ship at sea with a go-kart track on it. 2-story high go-kart track, 1,000 feet long, electrically powered go-karts. It's going to take the media market by storm. It's already the talk of the cruise industry. You're going to see Good Morning America cover it. You're going to see all the morning shows. You're going to see the CNN people on board. You're going to see CBS, NBC, ABC, everybody. It's global. This is going to be a story. You're not going to miss it. You can't miss it. You're going to be hit with this story from all angles, all sides, because it's kind of cool. Go-karts on a cruise ship? Who thought of that? Norwegian thought of that. This is the kind of stuff they are thinking of out of the box to get you. And they're not interested in me as a 62-year-old or older passenger. They're not looking for the retirement crowd. They're looking for young families. They're looking for the 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. Action Jackson. They want people who want to do stuff. And why not? It's a huge market. It's a fantastic market, and they spent. So bring the kids and have a good time. Could be a good deal. Sorry, I dropped my sheets again. So that's the 4th largest cruise ship line in the world. All 3 of these companies are now public companies. They are so big and they're growing so quickly and aggressively, they need cash to become even larger. And they have so many ships on order and they're making commitments for it. They need access to the public markets for capital. And so Carnival went public, Royal Caribbean went public, and Norwegian went public. This Apollo group saved the company. Then they invested fresh cash into the company, grew it to the point where they then took it public. They sold shares of the company that they had purchased at a very low price, at a higher price. They got most of their money out, and yet they still have a bunch of the stock in the company, and they control it to this day. And now it's a company that's growing and making money and getting larger all the time. You, as a cruiser, can take advantage of this. If you want to buy 100 shares of any of those three companies, you can buy 100 of each if you like, or 100 of one. You're going on a cruise in the next, say a month from now or later, or you're thinking of a cruise, you're thinking of like a 1 week cruise or a 2 week cruise or something like that, it would pay you to become a shareholder of the company that you're going to go on. So if you're going to go on a celebrity cruise, you got to buy 100 shares of Royal Caribbean stock. You're going on a Cunard cruise, buy 100 shares of Carnival stock. Become a shareholder, and you get a shareholder discount. You qualify as an owner of the company for a $100 cabin credit every time you take a cruise on a cruise line that they own. So for Carnival, all those cruise lines qualify. And if you're doing 3 cruises a year, you get 3 cabin credits, one for each cruise. And the longer the cruise, the more the cabin credit is. You're almost crazy not to be a shareholder of Carnival if you're taking 3 cruises in a year. It's $300 just for 3 1-week cruises. Pays to hold the stock. Fantastic. So 15 days or longer, you have to give them notification that you're on that cruise and that you're a shareholder. And you go through their website. It links there. If you can't find it, just Google it. Shareholder benefit program for Carnival or Royal Caribbean, Norwegian. Tells you all about it, how you work it. If you take a 15-day cruise or longer on Carnival, $250 credit. Not bad for being a 100 share shareholder of the company. So little tidbits like that. These credits are over and above any other promos that they're giving you. Any promo your travel agent can find you, there's no restrictions. So think about that. I mention it almost every video just to make sure you newbies are hearing about it. Just going to double check here. Teresa's asking not North America, but I believe Australia for David Crow. David, if we've misled you, we apologize. But there are a few, perhaps. MSC have some Indian cruises, you were saying. Most lines avoid Horn Africa. So if I missed that, I'm sorry if I missed that. I know of nothing out of North America. Nothing. But Australia, maybe. Not much. You may have to be out of India. You may have to be out of Dubai. And you may have to be out of Europe for the African cruises. Okay? Okay, couple more points and I'll be done today. The most popular destinations that cruises go to, the regions of the world. 35% of all cruises in the world go to the Caribbean. Doesn't that make sense for us, folks? You've got such a huge area down there. You got dozens and dozens of islands, the tropical blue waters, the whites, the beautiful beaches. If you're going to have a wedding, want to have a beach wedding, wow. Why don't you book it in with a cruise? And the bride and groom get on the ship in Miami, and they get married in San Martin, or they get married in St. Thomas, or in or wherever. I mean, pick the island. Oh my gosh, Jamaica, you name it. And then you got the honeymoon. Oh, the honeymoon's on the cruise. Fantastic. You got the bridal party. You can literally get married on board the ship. So yeah, you got 10, 20, 30 people want to go to a wedding all on a cruise at the same time. Yeah, what a great idea. These cruise companies, they're now building their own private islands, their own private resorts with pavilions specifically designed to host the wedding of your dreams. And you booked a beachside wedding on a private K resort that the cruise line operates, and the wedding day comes, you get there in the morning, and it's raining. Oh God, now what? No problem. They've got the pavilion there, and it's all ready as the backup plan, and it's beautiful. It's got the flowers, and it's got everything, and everyone stays dry because you're under the roof. Not to worry. So the wedding will come off without a hitch. Unless the groom changes his mind, we should be okay. Do brides change their minds? They are the ones who bought the dress. I shouldn't go there, should I? I should stay away from that. Okay, I'm staying away from that. Okay, other popular places to go. The number 2 region is the Mediterranean. And this is a strong European cruise market. The Mediterranean area is number 2 at 18.3% of all cruises are Mediterranean area cruises. Europeans love to cruise. The number 3 market is the rest of Europe. So that would be the Baltics, Northern Europe, or the UK, Ireland, Spain, Portugal, that whole region. makes up 11.1% of all cruises. And of course, I was talking to you earlier about all the German cruisers that cruise in France and Italy. That's where they're headed. Asia, 9.2% of all cruises are Asian cruises. That's going to grow. That is a massive market that has not even been tapped yet. We haven't talked about or heard of South Korean-based cruises, cruises out of Japan, cruises out of Taiwan, cruises out of Singapore. There's only a handful at this point, just a smattering. Many, many more to come. There are a lot of cruises out of Australia, of course, that go up to Asia. Brings me to my next category. This is 6.1% of all cruises, Australia and the Pacific area and New Zealand. And growing. North Americans, we love this. Oh man, I am wanting to take a flight from North America to Sydney and want to do Australia for a week or 2 or 3. I would love to do a cruise from Australia through New Caledonia, New Caledonia, Fiji, Vanuatu, New Zealand, that whole region. Oh my, these are bucket lists, people, bucket lists. And many of us in the North America are looking for that. We're plotting, and I see deals all the time show up on the internet. So exciting stuff, really exciting stuff. One more thing I'm going to double check while I've got you folks before I pack this up. I wanted to double check one more time to see if a number is lit. Yes, here it is. Okay, kids, here we go. Can you see this number up here at the very top? You see that number? 240,638. That's how many minutes of watch time are now on my channel, Traveling with Bruce, since it's been created. Which means that I have now surpassed the minimum requirement from YouTube for watch time to be monetized on the channel. 1 down, 1 to go. I got the minutes, I got the hours. From here, I'm just piling them on beyond what I need. 4,000 hours a year. I have the hours. Thanks to you guys. I can't thank you enough. I'm honored and I'm thrilled. I'm overwhelmed by it. Now I've just got to get the subscribers. I got to get the subscriber count to 1,000, but I'm working on that. I know you folks are helping me work on that, and I really appreciate it. And so I want to wrap this up. It's been 1 hour and 20 odd minutes so far today. I want to thank you guys for talking with me today. And we're talking cruising. You know what? Anyone else that would like these live streams, I am on the air Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern time here in North America, and Saturdays at 2 Eastern time, talking about cruising and traveling and trips, new news, new developments, new ships, cruise line news, disasters, good, bad, ugly, you name it. I love talking about airlines. Bring up the subject about travel. We'll talk. I'm going to take tomorrow off because it's Sunday as far as being on the air. But Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, I'm back talking again. And I want to thank all you guys. Teresa, thanks for watching. We'll see you. Peter in Down Under, thank you very much. David Crow, thanks for the question. I appreciate it. Chevy in First, all of you guys who are watching today, thanks as always. I'm going to say my goodbyes. This is Bruce with Traveling with Bruce, saying thanks for watching me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.